everyone, this is Gary with your cards of the day, and I've been a little absent this week, primarily due to having a severe head cold, which meant that my voice pretty well disappeared for a large portion of the week, so I do apologise for that, and also if I'm a little croaky today. Now the reading that I'm doing for today is another idea that I've had to utilise one of the most common tarot spreads out there, which is the Celtic cross, but mainly just use the central cross part of it, and to look at the energies in a slightly different way. So this is going to be, in some respects, a slightly larger reading, because this is looking at the weekend as a whole. And just to explain the positions that we have here, as you can see, I'm using two decks as well. So we have the Norse Tarot by Clive Barrett going this way, and we have the Tarot of the Northern Shadows going this way. And just to explain the positions, the central theme for the weekend as a whole is in the middle here, and this is crossed by a caution or something to be taken account of in relation to that central theme. Then we have beneath, we have the kind of underlying and subconscious influences. Above we have the conscious actions and sort of behaviours in a way. And then the last two, on the left we have the things that you're bringing into the weekend, and on the right the things that you're taking out of it. Hopefully it will become clearer as we go through, and I've had to change the angle around slightly because I have quite a small reading table, and this is quite a large spread. So our first card for today and for the weekend, which is our central theme, is the Ten of Wands. Now, in a lot of decks, this is depicted very much as somebody who is struggling under a very, very heavy burden. However, in the Norse Tarot, the feeling this gives me is, yes, we've got a lot on. This could well prove to be a very, very busy weekend. Could be very work-related, actually. But the figure in this card is coping with his burden extremely well. It actually looks like he's finding it quite easy. He's got one bundle under one arm, and he's got the other bundle up on his shoulder, and it's not a problem, even though he has these steps to climb. So be prepared for a lot of activity, be prepared for it to be quite hard work, but also be aware that you have the strength and the energy to deal with whatever comes at you this weekend, whatever you have to do, be that working hard, be that partying hard, whatever it is, you'll manage it essentially, and you will be able to deal with it. Now, the card that cautions in that respect is the Seven of Swords, and this is a very, very interesting card, because what we see here is a baby being carried off by these little fae folk, and in its place has been left a false baby, and this false baby is a fae. So this brings back a very old legend of being careful not to leave your children unattended in case they were stolen away and replaced by the fae. So there's a very, very strong feeling of deceitfulness and of deception as a warning here, suggesting, in this instance, I would say, just pay attention to what people tell you. Pay attention to what they say, and don't take everything absolutely at face value. Excuse me. Don't take everything absolutely at face value. Do look at things, do consider, and do bear in mind that people may not necessarily be being 100% truthful with you. Now, I'm going to move to what we bring into the weekend, and what we have here is justice, associated also in this instance with the rune of Lagu. Now, justice is very much a case of weighing things up. It's very much a case of making appropriate decisions, and it can also be a case of others having made decisions that benefit or affect us. So here, what we're looking at is we're coming in off the back of some decision making, either on our part or on the part of others. And the connection to Lagu, the flow of that rune, makes me feel like this is something that's really swept us into the weekend. It's sort of picked us up and shoved us along. So this is the sort of thing that can have happened very, very quickly. So we have this kind of, in a sense, the scales tipping in our favour, or possibly, as I say, us making the decisions, but this does feel kind of like influences from other people, and it's swept us into the weekend, and we suddenly find ourselves here. And where are we, is the question. So on a subconscious level, we have the Queen of Cups. This is very deeply emotional. It feels actually in some ways quite a happy but quite a turbulent card. There's a lot of emotional changing going on. I'm very drawn, actually, as I look at this, I'm very drawn to these swans in the background, which are very transformative if you think about the way swans go from being, in a sense, the quote-unquote ugly duckling to being the beautiful swan that they become. There's a lot of transformation there. So on an emotional level, there's a lot of things stirring around, a lot of things changing, and perhaps perceptions of ourselves changing as well, maybe perceptions of others. There's a really strong emotional feel to that, but it's very gentle, I would say. With it being the Queen, I would say this is for our good, this is for our higher good and our benefit. Now, on a conscious action kind of level, what we're dealing with here is the Knight of Cups. So again, that emotional feel comes through. And this is us acting on our emotions. This is us acting with compassion, with love, with care for others, and acting out of those deep emotions that we are experiencing. And we're perhaps really feeling other people's situations, other people's dilemmas, maybe even other people's pain. And we're acting towards, the natural instinct really is to try to remedy that. So very much kind of emotionally based action. And our final card for today, and then I will attempt to bring all these elements together, is the Four of Discs. Now this is very much a card of being in charge, directing, being in control, and also, I would say, strategizing as well. Looking at things and saying, this has to be here, this has to be there, this has to be over there. What we have is, it looks like a ship captain directing his crew in how they should raise the mast. So we've got this very much of a control element, and it does feel very much like we will be in a place of greater control, and have a much more grounded and solid idea of what we're doing moving into the beginning of next week. So, just to do a recap and try to bring these elements together, I'm going to look at them in a couple of lines. In terms of the vertical line, where we are currently is in a position where we could find that we have a lot on our plate, a lot of hard work, and we do need to be careful also of the things that we're being told by others. Judge them for ourselves, and don't just take things at face value. There could be potentially a little bit of untruth there. Not necessarily malicious, just being, shall we say, economical with the truth. We have a very strong emotional, and I would also suggest intuitive connection as well, though. So that is likely to help us deal with any deceptions or wool pulling that we might experience. And we are acting in that way. We're acting compassionately. We're acting with deep feelings towards others, but also utilizing that intuition to deal with our central situation of the things that we have to handle and the possibility of deception. Moving in this direction, we come into the weekend on the back of some scale tipping in our favour, some sort of decisions or judgments that have gone well for us, and it's picked us up like a tidal wave and whooshed us along into the weekend and plonked us down where we find ourselves now. And then moving out of that, out of the weekend, after this period of activity, we then find ourselves more grounded, more settled, in command, and really in a position where we're kind of holding on to the reins, in a sense. We are the ones who are in control. We're not delegating things. We are literally deciding what goes where and how. And we're in a much more authoritative position. So I hope you've enjoyed these cards of the day and of the weekend, and this different look at the energies around us. Again, I do apologise for my very croaky voice, but it's been like this all week. Please feel free to leave me some comments and let me know how these themes interact with your day today and throughout the weekend. Please also feel free to let me know what you think of this format of a sort of miniature Celtic cross. As always, please feel free to check out my website, www.theseerscave.webs.com, for more information about myself, my tools, and the readings that I offer. I want to wish everyone a really happy, blessed, active, and successful day today and weekend ahead. And as always, wish love, light, blessings, and faith to you all.